Good afternoon and welcome to the Point Grey campus of the University of British Columbia. A sunny afternoon at Thunderbird Stadium and David Sidhu Field, where Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 open their home schedule today against Sacramento Republic FC. Hello, my name is Brendan Batchelor alongside former Canadian international Mark Rogers for the call of this match today, and it should be a good one, Mark, with a couple of teams with a couple of wins from their first two games to start the season.
Absolutely, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the young Whitecaps side deals with a more experienced professional side that's looking to get into the MLS at some stage. They're putting all the pieces in place to do that. So it'll be a real contrast in two styles of play today.
As we look at some of the key players that you might want to focus on if you're watching the match today, and we'll begin with Daniel Haber from Whitecaps FC2, coming off a USL Team of the Week selection, a couple of goals last week in a win over Portland.
Well, it's fantastic to have the young Canadian back in his home country after spending a number of years in Cyprus and Israel. He's gotten off to a really good start, not only in the first two games, but also in preseason. Spent a lot of time with the MLS club down in the Portland Cup. So it's going to be nice to see. The last two games, what he showed in front of goal was a ruthless streak. He had two opportunities. He was gilt-edged, and he managed to punish Portland in those two instances. But he offers a lot. He doesn't just sit in wide areas. He likes to drift in and connect well with Kyle Gregg. A nice, big, strong presence up front, and he causes problems for opponents back four.
Kyle Gregg, an offensive weapon for this Whitecaps FC2 side as well. Looking at the opposition, Sacramento Republic FC, and they really like to utilize their right back, Emra Clementa.
They certainly do. Caps will have to be aware of that. I mean, the amount of space that he has to get up that right sideline is immense. Barrera plays in front of him, but loves to come narrow and link up with his two center midfielders, giving Clementa tons of space to get forward. He's not just that, he's such a consistent player. He played the most minutes than any player in the squad last year. Caps will have to be on their best defensively to watch out for that threat.
As we take a look at the starting 11s for the two sides here this afternoon, and let's begin with Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 in their home debut. And a little bit of a different look here, a couple of players being loaned from MLS. And what stands out for you here as you look at the starting 11 for this Whitecaps FC2 side?
Well, we're looking at a squad with an average age of 21, and it's not a university squad. This is a professional team. But it's fantastic to see a young Canadian development squad giving opportunities to young Canadian players, and to see guys like McKendry getting an opportunity to come back from the MLS squad and get minutes at the USL level really shows the philosophy at the Whitecaps with the Whitecaps 2 environment. So look for youth and endeavor in that Whitecaps team. That's what's got them 2 wins thus far this season.
We'll expect to see them play more of a 4-3-3. Meanwhile, the other side, Sacramento Republic FC, they'll play a little bit more of a traditional 4-4-2, and they've got some players who know how to be effective offensively.
They certainly do. They'll have to watch out for Thomas Stewart, number 10. He likes to pull off and come into that traditional number 10 role, creating almost like a 4-4-1-1. But in combination with Mark Sherritt up front, it give a lot of problems to the two young center backs for the Whitecaps 2 side. But it'll be really interesting to see how they deal with that, because if number 10, if Mr. Stewart gets on the ball and gets turned facing that Caps back four, cause a whole lot of problems. So the Caps will have to be on their game with that situation for sure.
As you said, an experienced Sacramento side who maybe has MLS ambitions against a younger Whitecaps group. You could almost call it a bit of a measuring stick game here early in the season, with both teams undefeated with 2 wins each. Well,
you know, Sacramento Republic is their own entity. They're coming into this game looking to get results. The Caps are looking for the result for sure, but it's not the only priority. The other priority is getting young players minutes, either from the MLS club or out of their residency program. So it's hard to play that balance. I know Allen's gone off to a great start so he's playing the balance perfectly so far, having 2 wins on the road to start the season.
Whitecaps open the season with a 1-0 victory at defending Western Conference champions Orange County Blues FC. They then defeated Portland Timbers 3-1 last week down in the City of Roses. As you see the teams making their way out onto the pitch here in front of a nice crowd here at UBC. And Whitecaps FC2 will play their home opener here this afternoon. Goalkeeper for the Whitecaps, Sean Melvin, a 21-year-old, just making his second professional start in goal here today, already with a result.
Another residency product. The young man from Victoria came in, and he certainly had a great debut down in Orange County, keeping a clean sheet in his professional debut.
As we'll step aside for the singing of the national anthems before the opening kickoff here at Thunderbird Stadium.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at this time we ask you to please stand and please remove your hats and welcome Ariel Tulio for the singing of the Star Spangled Banner at Old Canada.
Oh, say, it's not on. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Please join me in singing the Canadian national anthem. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
A lovely day for footy here on the Point Grey campus of the University of British Columbia, with the national anthems in the books and a great crowd in attendance. We'll have the opening kickoff here in mere moments. And we were speaking to the youth of the Whitecaps side, Mark. You look at Kyle Gregg, he's the captain, he's the oldest player on the team, and he's only 26.
Yeah, and boy, the Whitecaps staff cannot speak more highly about the guy. He doesn't just wear the armband as a ceremonial position. He really does lead this young group of Whitecaps by example. And what the Caps fans can expect to see today is a guy playing up front as a traditional target player, but really putting a shift in for the team in white.
As you see, the Whitecaps wearing the white kits with the blue trim, white shorts, white socks, while Sacramento Republic FC in the maroon jerseys. Maroon shorts, maroon socks to go with those as well. The team's huddling up here and getting set as Whitecaps FC 2 look to have a good start in front of their home crowd here early in the year. They'll be back here next Sunday as well.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes of this game is going to be absolutely crucial. You know, the Republic are in the same vein of form. They've come off 2 clean sheets themselves, and what they'll want to do, especially against a young side, is impose their will on them and their experience. Caps will have to be aware of that, make sure they come out of the gates at full speed right away, match that intensity. But overall, the Caps will be coming into this game with a lot of confidence, despite the fact that over the 3 games there's been lots of roster moves. I still think as a group they'll be in a confident mood today.
Caps with 4 goals and 1 conceded through their opening 2 matches. Sacramento yet to concede, and a couple of 1-0 wins for them. So only 2 goals, but defensively they've been impossible to stymie or impossible to put the ball past to this point.
Yeah, and it all comes from experience, because Clemente doesn't just offer something going forward, he's also very responsible defensively. At the center back position, Derek Foran and Chris Christensen are 26 and 27 years of age, which, you know, goes to show the difference in the 2 philosophies, but also that they have a little bit more experience under their belt. And against some young USL sides, that can pay off. But from a Caps perspective, they have nothing to lose here. They should just be free, come out of the gates. We've seen lots of exciting games last summer at this stadium, and I expect to be more of the same at Thunderbird this year.
Already a great start to the season for the Caps. 2 away victories after only picking up 8 all season long. So positive beginnings for Alan Kosh's side, and they'll look to build off that here against the experienced squad as we've talked about. It will be Sacramento getting us underway here in mere moments at midfield.
Yeah, you see the Caps huddling up, Brendan, and it's funny, Alan Koch made mention of having that extra time to prepare this year is going to pay off for them, and it certainly has over the first couple weeks of the season.
As we'll begin the proceedings here. And you always want to get out on the right foot against your home, or in front of your home crowd.
Absolutely, and just as importantly, make sure that you come out with energy, excite the crowd. It's one thing to, to have a defensively responsible performance, another thing to entertain. And I think all the people here at Thunderbird are ready to be entertained tonight.
As we are underway with Sacramento Republic FC controlling the ball early. Foran plays it back to the keeper, Jakovic. Now Christopher Christian will boot it upfield. DeVitt back forward. He'll play it out on the near side for a throw-in. James Kiffey plays it in. Out of play, and we'll have an early goal kick.
Interesting, one thing I've already noticed, Brendan, it's almost a 4-1-4-1 at times defensively for the Caps, with Seymour sitting a little bit deeper to protect the 2 center backs. Flores and McKendry then get an opportunity to get forward to link up in the attack.
As the first run forward for the Whitecaps from Kyle Gregg, able to play it out onto the far wing. Alfonso Davies, the 15-year-old, sends it back to Davy Flores. Now to the top of the box. Christian trying to clear. He'll play it out, and will it go for a goal kick or a corner kick? It will indeed be a goal kick.
Well, it's a good start by the Caps. Already managing to get plenty of bodies around Gregg for the second balls.
And excuse me, it will be a corner here. So good start for Vancouver, the younger side, and let's see if they can generate something here off their first set piece of the match. Delivered in, rising, just sent over the bar. Will Seymour on the end of that one, and that's a bright start for the Whitecaps, to say the least.
Absolutely. They get an early corner kick, and not only that, they managed to get something on it. Will Seymour, good, he gets up well. The defender's right on him, making it much more difficult for him to head that back on target. Just about challenged the goalkeeper, but a really strong and positive start by the Whitecaps.
Dominic Jakovic plays it back into the Whitecaps half of the field. Knocked down on the far side by Brett Levis, and Vancouver advances it up the park. Out on the far side for a throw-in to Sacramento.
You can see the intent early, Brendan, from the Whitecaps. They're going to try and pressure as high up the pitch as they can. They're not going to sit off Sacramento.
Played out onto the far side for James Kiffey. Thought about playing it up the sideline, instead gives it back to Christian. As Sacramento will play it forward. Headed away nicely by Cole Seiler, one of the MLS loans for Whitecaps FC2 today. Greg rising, trying to get on the end of that one. Unable to do so, and now the foul goes the other way.
Well, it's those type of challenges early in a game that cause the center backs to turn and face their own goal that will please Alan Koch. Nobody likes, as a center back, having to physically get challenged for every direct ball, and Greg does offer that. Wears out center backs over a game.
Ball picked off nicely by Sim DeVitt for the Whitecaps. Now here they come forward. Long ball and a big collision. As looking to get on the end of that one was Davy Flores, or rather Ben McKendry. Good challenge by the keeper, Jakubik.
Fantastic run by Haber as well. He comes narrow in that situation and catches the two center backs. Oof, he catches them square. Jakubik's starting position's perfect, and he bails out his back four there perfectly.
Couple of early forays into the attacking third for Whitecaps FC2. As it nearly fell to McKendry there. And we talked about obviously wanting to pressure up the park in front of your home fans, but this is maybe a little bit more than expected early on from Vancouver.
Certainly is. Very organized. They're looking to confront sort of halfway in the opponent's half. And when they do go, they're going as a group. They're not just going as lone soldiers. It's a very good start by the Caps. Very confident start. You see a little bit of jitters in the early going from the Sacramento side.
As once again they concede possession at the halfway line. Foul given there. The interesting thing must be managing that pressure and making sure you don't get caught on the counterattack as a result.
Well, what you don't want to do is, if you're not going as a group, you can get stretched. And against an experienced side with some very tidy and skillful players, they'll expose that.
Kiffey sends it into the box, headed right on. Didn't get all of that one in front. And grabbed cleanly by Sean Melvin in goal for Vancouver.
Well, if they're going to give a guy with Sherrod's experience that much space in the box, the Caps will eventually be punished. He had acres of space. In fact, he probably was surprised by how much space he had in the end. Almost could have brought that down.
As McKendry plays it back to Melvin, he'll boot it up the park with his right foot. Knocked down by Christian at midfield. Agustin Cazares onto it there. Gets it out to the far flank. Good pressure here by the Caps. As Christian again will take it on the near side. Watched closely by Greg. Now Foran advances it. Koval will boot it up the near flank, and here they come again. Kiffey takes it into the corner. Gets it into the box, bouncing through. Goes down inside the area. No call from the official, and the Whitecaps can bring it back the other way. Shouts for a penalty, and now here comes Vancouver. Flores up the right side. Plays it into the box. Out to get it is Jakubik. Snatching it from the feet of the Whitecap attacker, Alfonso Davies.
I tell you, my initial thought was that's a penalty. Came in quite late. If there's contact and he goes down, it's got to be given. Caps looks like they got let off the hook with that one.
As Sacramento, although they haven't pressured relentlessly, have had a couple of early opportunities here.
Yes, and they're starting to get to grips with their possession as well. Caps will have to make sure they stay compact, stay connected in the midfield, not get stretched against this experienced team.
McKendry trying to knock it down there, concedes possession. Now picked off by Flores in the middle of the park. And a chance for Haber to get up their side. He's taken down. That will draw the foul. And a free kick in decent position here for Vancouver.
And Haber's clever there. On the counterattack, he drives straight at the center back. Center back doesn't know whether to drop off or commit. The minute the ball goes past, he draws contact and draws the foul there. It's just clever play by Haber. But where the Caps are having their most success is they're compacting the midfield. They're making it really difficult for Sacramento to play through them. Even Tommy Thompson, you see the number 10, he's starting to really drop deep to try and get on the ball and get facing the Caps back four. You'll see DeWitt and Seiler have had already a couple shaky moments of indecision, one on the header from Sherrod and the other on the disputed penalty claim.
Flores and Levi standing behind this one. And an opportunity to send it into the box. It will be Levi's with his left foot curling it in. Headed away, and a foul called on the play.
It's really interesting to watch Levi's in that left back role this season. I know, having spoken to Carl Robinson, he thinks really highly of the boy from Saskatoon. And he really wants to give him an opportunity to play in that role. I know Caps fans will have seen him play in a more attacking capacity last summer. But it will be interesting to see when he offers a ton when he has the ball at his feet, but how he does defensively in this game.
Made his first start at left back last week in the victory over Portland. Drew a penalty in that match as well.
I think he set one up for Daniel Haber as well. So that's the part of his game that people already know about. It's the defensive part that's the big question, and it will take a little bit of time for him to get comfortable in there.
Keep up to date with the USL all season long by visiting the new USLsoccer.com for everything you need to know about the USL and its 29 teams. As the Whitecaps controlling possession sent out of play.
You can see, look how high up the pitch Clementa was on that. You know, he's gotten past Sherrod in the attack. He loves to get forward, and he could be a real threat from that position. But also Tommy Thompson's desperate to get on the ball. He's dropping deeper and deeper to try and get his foot on the ball and get into the attack.
Awkward bounce there at midfield. Greg had a bit of a collision with Christian. As now advancing up the park is the youngster Alphonso Davies. Ends up at the feet of Chung on the near side, now to Greg. Tried to lay that off into the middle of the park for Davies, didn't connect though.
They're doing a great job of winning the ball back at midfield. They just have to be a little bit more patient with their possession. They're giving the ball away a little bit cheaply, and they're so eager to get forward. Sometimes they have to just put their foot on the ball, retain a little bit more possession. And from a Republic standpoint, they'll be disappointed with how easily they've given up possession in the early stages.
As now a long ball up the near side, headed back by Cole Seiler, and that can be collected by Sean Melvin. Losing possession there, Will Seymour though, and collected back. Right-footed ball looking for Greg just over his head, off the boot of Seiler. Now Barrera on the near side. Whitecaps quite aggressive there in midfield.
They're doing a great job of dealing with the problem with Barrera coming narrow and joining in with his two center midfielders. They're managing to match up in there and congest that space. A big reason why they managed to win the ball back in these type of areas so far.
Caden Chung back to Sim DeVitt. A bit awkward there from Seiler. He's able to recover and play it free for Davy Flores. Flores ahead for Davies. He's got Greg ahead of him. Nice ball through for Haber on his left foot, but the flag is up. That's not going to count. But a lovely attacking movement from the Whitecaps nonetheless.
Fantastic position by Alphonso Davies. He comes narrow, he gets in that pocket between the center back, the fullback, and the two center midfielders from the opponent. Once he gets running at them, lays in a great ball for Haber, and boy was that close. Awfully tight decision by the assistant referee.
Should mention the referee, Alain Rouche, for today's matchup. The referee's assistants, Jasmine Parr and Stefan Tanaka-Freund. Juan Marquez is the fourth official.
You can see why Alphonso Davies is so highly spoken of for a 15-year-old. He sure doesn't look like a
15 years old, unbelievable.
And the way he runs at defenders, he's so athletic, quick, sharp, good technique. As
the Whitecaps, a positive start here as we enter the 14th minute. Almost something to show for it there, off the boot of Haber.
Yeah, I mean, the move was fantastic. Daniel Haber's run. Again, he drifts narrow, comes in, gets off the line, and connects with Greg and causes problems for the center back and the fullback, and creates indecision. Who's with him? Who's dealing with him? And you see why he has 2 goals to his name already this early in the season.
Taken down there. Chung able to play it up through the middle, and here's a good move for the Caps. Here's McKendry getting around, taken down, and no penalty called. Appeals waved off from the referee. And we've had a couple of close calls at either end now.
Certainly have. You just sense that McKendry didn't see the run of Greg. But have to see again if there was more contact than what we initially thought. Great bit of skill, though, to look at this little bit of skill by the Vancouver boy to lob Clementa. He's in. I tell you, if it was given, it would have been very harsh. Once the center back, once forward, gets back into that, gets his shoulder across McKendry. Doubtful. There wasn't enough contact to be given a penalty.
23-year-old Ben McKendry.
You can even say in that replay, Brendan, that he doesn't look, he doesn't see the run that's beyond him, and it was Kyle Gregg was in. If he would have spotted him, just needed a little layoff.
Came on for the final 20 minutes last week in Portland.
It's good to see him back. He had a very good first half of the last USL season. Unfortunately, a knee injury really disrupted that. Set him back for sure, but he's back, and he's back in the side. You know, he'll want to get this season jump started. It's good to see a local boy playing his soccer at Thunderbird for sure.
Number of locals on this Whitecaps FC2 squad. Caden Chun, a Port Coquitlam native, as Flores has some room up the right side, trying to get around Christian, who comes back to shepherd it out of play.
Good defending by Christian. Again, though, from Davey, he's managed to win a few balls back in the midfield. Anticipates that layoff very well. And where we saw him at his best last season, especially when he first came to the Whitecaps, and when he got at the ball at his feet, way more positive, driving at defenders with the ball at his feet. It's a good effort. You know, people forget he is 19 years old, 19 years of age. It's a great place for him to come and get experience.
Ball out of play on the near side. Possession back to Vancouver Whitecaps FC2.
They're starting to stamp their authority a little bit on this game, Whitecaps, over the last 5 minutes.
As Melvin played to Seiler. Nice ball ahead, no one on the end of it, though. Trying to get there was Levi's, and now DeVitt finds Haber. Sent ahead, here's Gregg looking to get there. Confident keeping from Jakovic to come out and clear that away.
That's experience. His starting position's fantastic. And he makes up his mind right away, and that's twice he's bailed out a high and square back four from Sacramento.
Whitecaps FC2 are back here at Thunderbird Stadium next Sunday. That's April 17th against Oklahoma City Energy FC. Stay for a post-match fire juggling show from Acro Fire Entertainment. Go to whitecapsfc2.com to purchase or redeem your tickets. You much for fire juggling?
Yeah, I like a bit of fire juggling.
Great atmosphere here at Thunderbird Stadium. As now we see Sacramento coming forward. Good work by Chung there, but that's going to be a corner. The first of the match for Sacramento.
Well, Caden Chung's had a great few weeks himself, getting a goal against the England U20s with the Canadian U20 side over in England. But there's a part of the game that he'll just have to, over time, grow into. Is the physical part of the game. The minute he gets his shoulder across the Sacramento player, has to try and be strong and hold them off, usher that out for a goal kick.
As Barrera delivers that one in, headed on by Christian, wide of the target.
A little bit of a threat. But I think the Caps will be happy with how it's gone the last 5-10 minutes. After a couple shaky moments for Seiler and DeWitt, they seem to come to grips with the situation with Sherrod up front. And as far as Christensen goes, like any time any center back gets an opportunity to score on a set piece, what you want to do is challenge the goalkeeper. And we've seen 2 opportunities, one for the Caps, one for Sacramento on corner kicks, neither of which were able to challenge the goalkeeper with the header.
Here come the Caps again. In stride is Davies. Lost the ball under the tackle from Derek Foran, and now Sacramento on the counter with space. Up the left side is Minter. He'll cross it in with his left foot, knocked away by DeWitt and cleared nicely.
Very composed defending by DeWitt. Having a chat with Allen before the game, spoke very highly of the Dutch center back. You see composure in how he plays the position. But the Caps will have to be a little bit more cautious when they send both fullbacks. Levi's and Chung both went there and almost got caught back on the counter the other way. And you know, Levi's just desperate to get forward. He has an attacking mindset. He'll just have to be a little bit more cautious.
And as once again, Sacramento bringing the ball forward. Goes out of play on the far side. Levi's puts it back into play. Headed away by Gregg. Booted across by Davies. Haber flicks it on from the halfway line, but no teammates in the vicinity.
Tendency can be, when you have a strong presence up front, is to play direct constantly. What the Caps want to do is vary their service coming out of the back, make sure they're not overly reliant on that direct ball into Gregg.
As sneaking up the left side was Kiffey. He'll get the ball now, working his way back into the middle of the park. Sent it up the middle, knocked away by DeWitt yet again. And he's got more work to do here, although it bounces calmly back to the keeper, Sean Melvin.
Really is amazing to see how Clemente just gets, he literally gets, every time they're in attack, gets high and in line with Sherrod. Amazing amount of work rate that is required to do that from a fullback starting position.
Kyle Gregg draws the foul, rather.
And there goes, I know what a center back from Ireland looks like after my time in England. And the instinct is to go physical against a target player like Gregg. And you know he's up for that type of physical challenge. And he'll keep trying to draw contact and draw those type of fouls with his back to goal. He'll be pleased with that. And all that will do is continue to frustrate the center back. Both the center backs, Christian and Foran, will have to be on their game to nullify the threat of Gregg, especially on that first ball forward.
Haber and Davies have been a handful for them early as well.
Yeah, because they don't just sit on the chalk. They don't just stay wide. They like to come narrow and link up with the Caps midfield.
Chung sends it into the box. Cleared away as far as midfield, and Seiler can knock it down there. Play it out wide. Good movement here by the Caps as Caden Chung takes the ball on the near side and will drop it back to DeWitt.
Good technique from the kid. Good composure.
This is a little bit more calm and collected than the quick counter that we saw earlier.
We've gotten past that sort of, the first 20 minutes can often be that way as two teams settle into their games. We're past that point now. The Caps showing a lot more patience in their possession here.
As Chung plays a nice ball to Davies just inside the box. They'll drop it back. Chung to the middle of the park, out of the reach of Flores. And to collect and calm things down was McKendry. Now DeWitt chasing it back into his own half. Ahead to McKendry. Now back to DeWitt. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive news and interactive content. The USL is on Facebook. DeVitt again for McKendry. He'll send it to Seiler on the far side. Brings it forward himself. Played it onto the far side. Possession conceded though.
You can see that Haber and Davies have switched sides now to provide a little bit different look in their attack.
Greg keeping his familiar position in the middle.
You won't see him pulled out of there very often.
Foul is drawn here. DeVitt takes it from McKendry. Flores with it. Again for McKendry. Plays it wide to Seiler.
The onus now is when the Caps have these periods of possession, make sure there's an urgency to it. Move the ball quickly, make the opponent's defense shift cover quickly, and wears out a defense over the game.
Davies, the 15-year-old, concedes possession on the near side, but James Kiffey was unable to keep it in play. Greg meets that with his head, but cleared back into Whitecap territory, and DeVitt will drop off for Melvin. This is looking a little bit more dangerous from Sacramento. Nice clearance from Seiler. Ball out of play on the near side.
Oh, I know Alan Koch will be thrilled with how they've started this game. We spoke at length about the experience of the Sacramento Republic. If anything, over the last 10-15 minutes, the young Cap side have shown more experience despite their youth.
Here's a nice move by Davies. Haber sneaking in on the far side. Greg coming forward as well. Possession lost though, and now Sacramento quickly on the counter. Nicely cut out by Caden Chung, top of the box. Foul on the play.
Excellent defending by the 17-year-old. Great starting position. He's nice and narrow. He's in contact with DeVitt.
Whitecaps getting forward a bit here. And as the ball intended for Davies did not get through, and now a free kick the other way for Sacramento.
Yeah, DeVitt just struggled to judge the flight of that ball forward. And in the end, the best thing to do is just back off and let him flick it onto you in that situation, especially if you see that the striker hasn't looked over his shoulder. As an experienced player will bring the ball down, and if you back off of them, there's no real reason to foul in that situation.
And Barrera will have a chance to deliver this one in with his left foot. Just flicked wide of the far post. Nice delivery from Barrera.
Fantastic delivery. And in the end, it was a nice little flick on towards the back post by Stewart. But again, it's those type of moments where you give them a set piece. You know, it's really, using a tennis terminology, an unforced error. No reason to foul in that situation. And it gives them an opportunity to get some of their big guys forward, like Christian and Foreign.
He's advancing forward. Chase Minter trying to bring it ahead. That was played out wide to Kiffey. He's delivered a couple of balls in from the wide areas, but nice work there from Daniel Haber tracking back.
He's an honest player. He does both sides of the ball. He's very good at. Certainly wants to hang his hat on scoring goals. But you've seen already in the early stage of this game, he's provided lots of cover for a young 17-year-old fullback in Caden Chung.
Derek Foreign. Play that high in the air. Headed away by Chung. He's got to do it again on the near side. Throw to Sacramento. Top of the box, taken down for Sacramento was Thomas Stewart. Had a little bit of a appeal there, but not given.
It's nice to see that not every bit of physical contacts called results in a foul. It's a big criticism of the way the game's being officiated these days. But both teams still feeling each other out today. It'll be interesting to see which team will flinch first, but also it'll be interesting seeing which team will up the tempo of their play first. It's a little bit too comfortable for both sides at the minute.
Nice ball out wide. And a foul drawn.
Great attacking position taken up by Levi's. Look how advanced he gets. And when he gets in those, that's where he's happy. That's where he's comfortable at the minute. And so when he has the ball at his feet, it's very difficult to defend. He's fantastic. He's got happy feet, and he draws an obvious foul in that situation. Just an obvious shoulder into the middle of his chest. He just makes the defender bite, and a chance here for the Caps on a set piece.
30th minute of the match. Both sides have had attacking opportunities. It's played out wide. And unable to hold that one in.
They'll be disappointed with the service on that set piece.
Opportunities are there, though, for the Caps. Long searching ball. And Stewart. DeVitt managing him. Able to win possession and clear it out of play.
Fantastic ball forward by Kiffey. Old school, old fashioned channel ball forward.
Now Minter in a battle with Davies, who controls that one nicely and clears the danger.
Amazing for a 15-year-old that he can win those physical battles at his age.
Here come the Republic again, though. Ball delivered in, grabbed by Melvin. And quickly thrown ahead for Davies.
Generally, the Caps have dealt well with Clementa getting forward into those areas.
Now Greg trying to find Flores. Picked off by Christian.
Now you see Minter coming narrow as well, along with Barrera, really congesting the midfield, but also giving an opportunity for Clementa and Kiffey to get forward.
Advancing quite far up the park. As Christian plays it through. DeVitt again dealing with the pressure from Sherrod.
DeVitt holds him up fantastically well, but also the help from Davis from the other side to create that double team. Very, very well defended by the Caps. Sherrod's not having a ton of joy getting on the ball. Anytime he does manage to pin the center backs, pressure comes from the other side to make it difficult for him.
Greg gets under that one. Christian back to deal with it. Whitecaps can bring men forward here.
And little things like in that situation, the flick on Davis, not everybody would go and pressure that. He creates a good opportunity now for the Caps to get bodies forward, throw it in the opponent's final third, and it all just comes from extra work and willingness to go and pressure the player with the ball.
DeVitt trying to connect with Greg. Flores regains possession out to Levi's. Silent with his right foot, looking for Haber. He'll find him on the near side. Levi's with it. Again for Silent. Once again, the delivery. Greg likely would have been offside, never connected either way as Foran picked that off. Once again, possession one at the halfway line. Seiler for Flores, middle of the park. Out wide to Davies, the youngster. trying to cut in, made a nice move wide and dealt with there.
The young man just has to be a little bit more positive, get it out of his feet, and get at the fullback with just a little bit more intensity. It's nice to see such a young man getting the ball at his feet and getting at these experienced defenders, but it's just a little more positive.
DeVitt once again back with the help of Seiler to deal with some pressure there, and now here's Flores ahead with support into the middle of the park, flicked back by McKendry, unable to connect with Seymour.
You can see Alan Koch was not happy with the lateness of that tackle on Chung. Having a little word with Paul Buckle on the other side, manager for Sacramento.
Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. As we approach the final 10 minutes or so of the opening half, and has to be a pleasing start to this match for Alan Koch's side. As Sacramento threatening here. Seiler back to see away the danger, and they are able to deal with that.
Well, there was no debate from Sherrod. You don't see him gesticulating to the ref, trying to earn a penalty, and fair play to him, but Seiler's just going to have to be a little more careful. The minute he gets back, he needs to try and stay on his feet. The minute you go to ground now, it's so easy for the referee to be enticed into calling a penalty. But both teams have been a bit of back and forth in this first half, and both teams have had opportunities, albeit few and far between. Corner kicks. We've had a goal disallowed for the Whitecaps, which looked pretty tight from an offside perspective, but also a really strong penalty shout from Sacramento the other way. In his second year, I had the opportunity to play against Alan back in our university days. He's an SFU alum, and I'm a UBC guy, so it's good to see him having an opportunity to coach locally here. Really excited to get these guys a little earlier than they were last year and get them prepared for this season. Had high hopes for how they'd play in the USL this summer.
And to this point, those hopes have been realized with the 2 away victories and a strong performance through 37 minutes.
All the while giving 4 residency products and 6 Canadians an opportunity, which is fantastic to see.
Youngsters like Davies and Chung in the side as well. Bodes well for the future of not just Whitecaps FC2, but Vancouver Whitecaps FC as well.
And then our national programs, which is a nice byproduct of that.
Haber finds that one after it was sent over his head. He'll leave for Flores. Flores into the middle of the park. Seymour in a big collision there. Keeps his feet, keeps the ball as well. Here's Seymour. Nice move onto his left foot, blocked away. And a corner kick will result, but a great individual effort on the play.
Well, you don't see Will Seymour get forward that often. And he showed great strength initially here to ride the tackle of the 2 Sacramento players. It looks like J.J. Caval and Caceres. And then when he gets one-on-one, he shows a little bit of skill as well from the holding midfielder. Draws a well-earned corner kick.
McKendry to take it for Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. He'll deliver it in with his right foot. DeVitt rising, couldn't get on the end of that. Davies rising to knock that one down. McKendry unable to keep possession. Same goes for Levi's, and it's cleared up the park. Caden Chung for Flores. Nice ball. Intended for Haber, picked out though by Kiffey. DeVitt for Vancouver. As once again, Levi's will advance it up the park. Nice ball through. Greg gonna get on the end of that one. Drops off for Davies. Now out of the reach of Flores and out of play.
Bit sloppiness from McKendry there, but you know, he holds his hand up and owns that one. But from a defensive standpoint, McKendry, Flores, and Seymour have done a very good job of congesting that midfield, making it really tough for Sacramento to work their way through that block in front of the back four. You can see the frustration of Stewart. He's desperate to get on the ball. And in the end now draws a foul because of it. He's coming deep. He's just desperate to try and get on the ball, get his game going. Finding it very difficult here in the first half.
As Levi's. A nice move, give and go with Davies. Levi's still with it. What a move, and a shot from way out. Skied that one over the bar, but a lovely bit of skill to create the opportunity.
Well, again, he loves playing in the attacking third. He's got wonderful, happy feet, and he's seen a great little bit of skill. And then maybe his eyes get a little too big for his head. Tries to rip one in from 30 yards. But he'll be pleased with how he started the game. He hasn't really given up much defensively.
Substitution for Sacramento Republic. Alfonso Mota-Galvan on for Sacramento Republic. Off the park was Chase Minter.
You just wonder if he's carrying an injury. Very rare to see a substitution with 5 minutes left in the first half. Be a little bit surprised. Well, although you have 5 subs in this league, be a bit surprised for Paul Buckle to burn one of those subs with so little time before halftime.
Well, Talgavan into the match for Sacramento. Santa Rosa, California native.
Be interesting to see if they change the way they're approaching this. There's a bit of a stalemate at the minute. If it's not an injury situation, it could be in a change of formation. Have to wait and see on that.
As McKendry plays it ahead for Haber. Nice ball into the box. McKendry nearly able to find that. As Chung has to deal with the clearance and is able to draw a throw in. Back for DeVitt. Seiler. Ball out of the reach of Levi's. Christian will take that in the middle of the park. Now Cazares on to the far side for Kiffey. Drops back off for Foran. Christopher Christian again. James Kiffey. Sent up the park looking to find Sherrod, who does bring it down here. Dangerous from Sacramento. Sherrod looking to cut onto his right foot, couldn't get it away. Republic still threatening though. Ball flicked on right in front. They'll touch it. It's in the back of the net, but the flag is up yet again. Thomas Stewart touching that one into the back of goal, but it will not count. Offside.
Well, it was good build-up by the Sacramento Republic. It all results in a cross from a nice area here from Clementa, again in an attacking position. Puts in a nice cross. Boy, oh boy. If he gets any contact on it, the possible offside, but obviously once the ball comes back across goal, Stewart definitely finds himself in an offside position when he finishes the attack off.
Couple of goals called back for offside in this opening half, one at either end of the park.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as well what they're trying to do here. Motaglavan has come on and he's sitting very much in front of the back four. It's more traditional holding midfielder besides J.J. Caval. Looks like Caceres and Barrera are playing in more advanced positions. You can see almost traditional wide players now from Barrera and Caceres.
Seiler finds Davies. Whitecaps forward again. Touch to Gregg. He'll play it ahead for Haber. Offside as he tries to bury that one with his left foot. The flag was up already.
Nice little bit of creativity. Love again how Haber comes narrow, links up well with Gregg and Davies in that situation, and may have just started his run just a tad too early. You can see, if anything, it's the player Clementa that may have kept him onside. But the initial thought was he probably found himself in an onside position by about a half a yard.
This game has not lacked for opportunity either way. Davies. And Chung with it on the near side. Chung loses possession, but it rolls out of play. Levi's trying to create something from out wide. Now Flores for Chung. Striding forward. Lays off for Flores again, looking in the middle for Seymour. That was picked off, then it's conceded. Here's Gregg trying to turn with his left foot. Ball's down. We'll continue after it as we'll have 1 minute of added time here to end the first half. And the Whitecaps playing quite positively at the moment.
Again, you see a little bit of rust from Ben McKendry on some of his distribution. But the Caps will be happy if they can hold on to this halftime scoreline of 0-0. I think they'll be happy with how they've approached the first half. It's definitely been back and forth, both sides creating opportunities.
Levi is able to deal with that. Ahead for Haber. And knocked out of play. Will be a free kick though.
Yeah, great willingness by Levi's to close down Clementa on the other side. Both fullbacks going at it. Just has to be careful when he goes there that he's not leaving something in behind.
DeVitt rises to deal with that one. And that will draw the first half to a close. Opportunities at both ends of the park, as we said, and a scoreless draw through 45 minutes plus added time. A positive for the Whitecaps to this point in the match.
Yeah, they certainly haven't looked overrun by a more experienced Sacramento Republic team. It's been a game of back and forth opportunities. Not tons of opportunities. There have been a little bit few and far between, but gilt-edged ones. I mean, I know Sacramento will be going to the dressing room really wondering about that one penalty claim early on in the game. It was a strong shout for a penalty there. But also on the other side, Haber was put in, and he sure looked onside. So both teams will feel like they could have had a good opportunity to score goals. But I know Alan Koch especially will be going into the dressing room saying, same again, boys. But definitely be aware an experienced team can go in now and fix some of their problems. And really, it's just the speed of play from Sacramento Republic. I've seen them last season, and especially with the first two games, they played with far more urgency in possession. The Caps will have to be wary of that, make sure they come out and match that speed of play. But I know Alan Koch will be happy. You see him talking to Steve Meadley out there now, having a chat, and I'm sure they'll both be fairly pleased with the way they approach the first half.
Our halftime score here at Thunderbird Stadium at the University of British Columbia. Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2-0. Sacramento Republic FC 0.
Don't miss out on beer specials as well. You can enjoy.
Think about it. You know The Bachelor?
No.
You ever seen the TV show? The next Bachelor. Christian Dean.
Dude, it's gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah.
What channel? MTV?
Don't look at me. See, they want to put me in trouble. I left my ring home, baby. You know me. I still love you.
I didn't even look at you.
This is the new Bachelor right here. You're looking at Gambia's next Bachelor, Mr. Kekuta Solomon Bandi Mane.
Yeah. So like, you ever seen? Oh, do you accept this rose? They give the flower, and the girl say, "Oh yeah, I accept this rose."
No.
I'll show you, man. I'll show you. Yeah,
TV.
no, it's good. It's a good show.
If you are between 21 and 45, you know, just give a call.
I bet you someone else who said Kakuda.
Everything he said is wrong. Even my name, he said it wrong. So
Why? Your name is Solomon Bandi.
One guy, all the girls, and he chooses one girl.
Ben McKendry.
Ben McKendry?
Ben McKendry would be a great.
Some of the younger guys.
Yeah, I'd say Ben.
I'll show you.
Maybe in Spain I look at this program, but I'm not sure.
So who we picking? You.
does it have to be a single guy?
Doesn't have to be. It's up to you.
What do you mean doesn't have to? What kind of problem? You want to bring people in problem? You see, don't answer that. That's reporters. You're trying to bring the married people into trouble, man.
I'm not gonna pick a married.
So pick yourself.
I'm not gonna pick a married
Pick
guy.
you. It's done.
I don't want to be the bachelor.
You gonna be the bachelor.
No chance.
He is the bachelor. It's either him or
Bustos, man.
I don't know about you, but I think I'd pull it off.
Bustos.
I'd be a good bachelor.
A few people have said that actually.
Hey, yeah, boy.
I'd be a good
I'd
bachelor.
watch that show for sure. Oh,
I'd
yeah.
watch my own show, man.
no
Single. Busty?
No, not Buster.
If I have to pick, it doesn't matter who's single or not. I will pick Rossi.
I think the girls would probably love him. Would be Christian Dean.
No, not Diener. Come on.
Come on, man.
It's too easy for you.
That hurts.
In a good way.
Okay.
So you don't feel
The
it?
thing, I don't fit it. No,
Why?
it's not for me.
Why not?
He's got a good heart. He's not shy.
I don't want to be the bachelors.
Okay.
He does have a good heart. I fuck Kakuda. I'll see you on the next Bachelor, Kakuda.
It's actually interesting. Quite
You watch
interesting.
The Bachelor or Bachelor in Paradise?
Bachelor in Paradise.
You watch that?
Yeah.
No, that's one I like because
Yeah.
there's a lot of craziness going on. And sometimes,
Well, yeah. Final answer, Rossi.
Sometimes my wife dragged me to watch it though. But
So all these girls,
And then the girls
they
fight.
fight each
Yeah.
other for the one guy. One guy that speaks to all the girls.
Harvey.
He's married, bro.
But if you know
If
it's
you
married,
don't-
but maybe.
Hello again, Whitecaps fans. Jordan Harvey here. It is 2016, and we are coming back with some more roommates on the road. First up, by popular demand, we are going to talk to David Alstead and Marco Carducci. Let's see what this goalkeeper union's up to. Roommates on the road, 2016. How we doing? Marco, Dave.
Dave's on the computer.
Dave's on the computer, perfect. Yeah, we want him in his natural habitat. Thanks for having us.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach.
Bedroom looks nice and neat.
Say hi, Dad. Yeah, he doesn't want to be on this seat. Like me.
Ducci, how we doing, man?
Just keeping myself busy, you know, doing a little bit of work when I got some free time. So,
What kind of classes you taking?
some business stuff.
Business-driven information systems. Looking around the room right here, are you the organized one?
I basically run the show, so yeah.
No, but seriously, Dave's got a mess over there, and you're very organized. You know, he's supposed to be showing you the ropes. What's going on here?
You know, sometimes I'm the one teaching him how things should be done.
That's what I do here. Roommates on the road.
Drive a wedge in between. This is not roommates on the road. He's trying to ruin the roommates on the road. So.
Roommates on the road is to test your guys' relationship and to get down to the facts. We want the facts here. The fans want the facts.
The fact is that this could be couple of the year. This could be probably roommates of the year. That's how good this relationship is.
That's what you're going for.
That is what we're going
2016.
2016
Roommates.
Roommates on the Road Award.
Carducci's got one chair. You can't give the guy a desk?
I'm pulling the veteran card here. This is my table of work right now.
This is my workspace.
Yes.
What, dude, right here? Netflix, you know, a little bit of online reading, whatever I'm doing, just right here.
Now, there's also something in this room that I've seen over the past year, and Dave kind of seems to keep it to himself, and I wonder if his roommates ever used it.
You look at it, regular roller, right?
That's what you think.
That's what you think.
Boom.
So, you turn it on, you have a little button here, power, vibrating roller. But, even more, level 2. Level 3.
Game changer. Wait. Do you have to get permission from Dave first?
No, he gave me an open leash for this one.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice. She's in a relationship.
It's a little awkward.
Coming to my bed.
Jordan Harvey, Roommates on the Road.
Jordan.
Check out other episodes on whitecapssc.com. Thanks to Dave Carducci. We'll see you guys again.
Remember to vote for us. Roommates of the Year,
Number
2016. Number 1.
Look at this.
Still lingering, fans still settling in, and a new season, new hopes, new dreams, new expectations underway. Into that post, it's Harvey! The Whitecaps back in it through Jordan Harvey! Piatti, 3 goals for Montreal.
A lovely afternoon at the campus of the University of British Columbia. Scoreless between Whitecaps FC 2 and Sacramento Republic FC at halftime. A nice crowd enjoying the weather, enjoying the action on the pitch. And a pretty positive first half for Vancouver, all things considered, with some good opportunities, a goal called back. And you look at Daniel Haber and what he was able to do in that first half for this Vancouver club. A big positive there up front, along with Kyle Gregg.
Well, we highlighted him right off the top. You're going to see a couple highlights of why we did that. In this case, Alphonso Davies gets on the ball and he drives at the back four fantastically. But look at the movement of both Haber and Gregg. And that was the one where I think the Caps will feel a little hard done by. It was certainly a tight decision by the assistant referee. And you can see Haber is doubtful. Of course he would be. But again, here's more of what Haber offers. Gets on the ball. He's quite comfortable with it. Great little ball in behind. And Ben McKendry with a nice little bit of skill, but you can see the run from Davies. If he would have spotted it, could have been another good goal-scoring opportunity for the Caps. But in the end, he doesn't spot the run from Alphonso Davies, and the chance goes wanting.
As you see the kids enjoying the pitch-side soccer here. Nice little bit of skill there. As we take a look back at some more action in the first half, and the youngster Alphonso Davies.
Well, speaking of kids, he doesn't look doesn't look like a 15-year-old. I mean, in that situation, look how strong he is. I mean, he's playing against, in that situation, it was Chase Minter. But here again, he's quite happy to mix it up with the Sacramento Republic players. In that case, he drew a foul, but he offers a lot going both ways. He's full of endeavor. He's a very positive young man. He's not just offered a lot going forward, but he's also managed to track back and provide a lot of cover defensively for the Caps in the first half. He'll be very pleased with how he's approached this game. I mean, it's interesting, though, from a 15-year-old perspective, playing in this type of environment, what he must be thinking, because there's absolutely nothing for the young man to lose. All he has to do is go out there, learn, and play free.
As the two teams make their way back out onto the pitch, and we see that Giuliano Frano will join the match for Whitecaps FC 2. He'll be substituted on in place of Ben McKendry.
Yeah, that's probably precautionary. You know, the young man's been out for quite a while now with that knee injury. I haven't spoken to them. They want to make sure that they bring him back slowly. The nice part about the USL environment is with the 5 subs, they get the opportunity to be a little bit more carefree with their decision making. And it's nice to see another Canadian coming back. Giuliano Frano last year spent the season down the I-5. It'll be good to see the kid play here in his home opener for Whitecaps too.
Mississauga native, Sounders FC, 25 league appearances, Sounders FC 2 rather, last year. For Giuliano Frano, 2 years NCAA Division I at Boston College.
Well, it's nice to see that not only are they given opportunities to their youth and residency players, but also when they are bringing other more experienced players like a Daniel Haber, albeit he's only 23 years old. They're bringing back Canadian guys, and Daniel Haber and Giuliano Frano are both that, and are being given an opportunity at this level to try and prove something.
Now for you, if you look at what Vancouver was able to do in the opening half and what they might want to accomplish here in the second half, what do they have to be particularly aware of?
Well, they want to continue to frustrate Sacramento on their possession, and very difficult for Sacramento to play through the Caps midfield. It was very congested in there, likely because Barrera comes narrow. Caceres likes to come narrow as well. Creates a lot of congestion in that area. And I want to continue to do that because ultimately players like Tommy Stewart, the number 10, will get less space to operate in. So from that standpoint, it'll be much the same. You'd think Alan Kosh would say, same again, boys, from a defensive capacity in the midfield. But also, I think the Caps have another couple gears from a possession standpoint. They'll like to up the urgency and tempo of their possession. It only helped them create more chances.
As they control the possession here to begin the second half. Ball sent out of play. And ahead for Sherrod. In a battle there, loses it to Davy Flores, and he'll fire back for Sam Duvitt.
Well, you see again, right off the bat, Sherrod gets it into his feet, and the double team comes straight away from the midfield. In the end there, Davy Flores does a good job to win the ball back for the Whitecaps. You see, it's definitely a tactic. They're trying to negate the presence of Sherrod up front.
Trying to find Davies up the far side. Ball seen out of play. Vancouver still with it. Devitt takes the pass from Seiler. He'll advance it to the halfway line. Out for Chung. Devitt with it again. Right-footed ball. Bounces to Seymour. He'll switch over to the wide side for Davies, the youngster. Unable to control, but it ends up back on the foot of Levi's. Now to Flores. Searching ball with the right foot. Just out of the reach of Haber.
Another well-timed run by Haber, and Flores spots it. Just ever so slightly over it. It's nice to see both center backs from the Caps as well, Seiler and Devitt, being given the license to drive into the midfield and distribute. It causes problems from a defensive standpoint for Sacramento. Who goes, who stays, do they keep their shape? Those are the type of questions that kind of distribution asks. And both DeWitt and Seiler happy in possession.
Possession given up here, though. As surging forward is Emra Clementa. Headed away by Levi's. As once again, the Republic trying to advance the ball forward. Clementa with it there. Lays off wide for Barrera. Clementa and Barrera playing pass. Now Barrera will curl that one in with the right foot. Bounces through to Sean Melvin.
Well, you see Barrera and Caceres now taking up more wide positions in an effort to try and unclog the middle of the pitch. He's a tidy player, Barrera. Both of them are. And with his left foot can cause problems. You see it there. That was a decent cross. Weren't able to cash in on it. But even here again, you see Barrera occupying a wide area.
Clementa and Koval in support on that far side. As Caceres plays it ahead. Republic keeping possession. As it's sent wide up the flank. Clementa looking to get on the end of that one. He's able to bring it down.
Heard him barking at his midfielders to play that ball a little more quickly.
Now here's a ball through. Trying to curl it in with his right foot was Koval, but that's cut out. The Whitecaps able to advance up the park. An opportunity here as Flores brings it ahead to the midway line. Ahead for Gregg. He'll try to get onto the end of that one. Curls it across to Haber. Top of the box. Settles it down. Cuts to his left foot. It's blocked and cleared. As sending that away is Koval.
Well, again, fantastic counterattack. It all starts with Cole Seiler. Good composed defending at one end and then sets them off on the counterattack the other way. What a wonderful ball and behind the back four by Kyle Gregg. And in the end, we saw last week Haber cutting both onto his left and onto his right foot to create both his goals. It was the exact type of scenario that he cashed in last week against Portland on. But in the end, Sacramento gets a key block on it from Christian.
As dangerous as Whitecaps FC2 have looked, maybe with the exception of the disallowed goal that Haber put in the back of the net.
Yeah, and that's promising. We haven't seen them really open onto the counterattack much this game thus far. So that'll be encouraging for Whitecap fans here. We can see Clemente getting a little bit frustrated with his team, wants the ball being moved a little bit more quickly for the Republic.
Again, quite far up the park. Well, the Whitecaps have done a good job of limiting his effectiveness.
They certainly have. And that comes down first and foremost to Levi's. He's done a good job. He's really learning on the job how to play the left back position.
As Barrera sends it into the middle of the park, he'll get it back. Onto the wide side for Clemente. Levi's draws the foul.
More good defending by Levi's. Good one-on-one defending. He's very quick and athletic. Judges the first touch by Clemente very well. And you see right off that first touch, he's in to go win the second ball. Draws the foul. And he's done a great job of negating Clemente to a large extent.
Now Chung ahead for Haber. Back to Seiler. Good movement here by the Caps, as Flores will play it through for Levi's with some space to work with. Levi's trying to cut in. Ran into a bit of trouble there.
Yep, fantastic penetrating ball by Flores. Excellent weight on it. And Levi's will be encouraged by that. He doesn't have to beat the fullback every time, but the intent is there to get at the fullback and try and create something. He has that in his locker. He's very good with the ball at his feet. And to start the second half, the Caps have looked more threatening on the counterattack. Sacramento's managed to boss the possession early on in the second half.
But it almost feels like they're having to try and settle things down, although here comes Clemente with some room to work with. He'll play it out wide, and a nice block there from Chung to deal with the opportunity from Cazares.
The minute Clemente gets it and drives centrally, you can see the indecision in the Caps back four. Do I go? Do I hold my shape? In the end, a little good block by Chung to deny the cross.
Cazares again sending it in, cleared away by DeVitt. Republic onto it again, though. Working his way into the box. Played back and cleared away after the strong run by Kiffey.
Well, because of the good possession by the Republic, they're able to join players in from midfield. You can see on that, once they got into the 18-yard box, they had 5 players in maroon shirts there in support. Caps will have to be wary of that. Make sure that players like Haber and Davies do the defensive part of their game. The threat being then makes it much more difficult to get out. Could lead to Greg being isolated up front.
Now here's Seymour with a nice ball through. And a great chance for Haber. Djokovic out confidently made the save again, but as we take a look at it again, a great ball through to create the chance.
Haber's runs in behind of the Sacramento defense today have been absolutely superb. And this time he's found again. What a wonderful ball by Seymour to put him in on goal. Again, Djokovic's starting position's perfect. Managed to narrow down the angle very well.
Haber trying to penetrate through again off the long ball by Flores. Djokovic once again dealing with that.
It's just experience. I mean, he's 36 years old. He can fit two of the young Whitecaps under his age. But his starting position is absolutely outstanding, and he's bailed them out about 3 or 4 times today with that.
As you mentioned, Sacramento controlling the possession. Clemente ahead into the box with it now. Plays it into space, no teammates there, and Haber can fire it ahead just out of the reach of Greg.
It's poor by Clemente, but he's starting to have a bigger influence on the game right now. He's getting on the ball, getting in the attacking areas. It's incredible the amount of work he puts into a game. And he literally is an extra attacking player every time Sacramento gets the ball. Does his due diligence from a defensive standpoint. You see him now back in connection with his back four. Really impressive from Clemente. It's just quality letting him down. It's certainly not work rate.
And good work from the Whitecaps to contain him as they have to this point in the match. Battle for the ball, middle of the field, and we've got a crowd forming here. Tempers boiling over after one of the Republic was taken down.
Well, what they're really upset about, and you can see when teammates that are in close proximity to a tackle like that get that upset, especially professionals, that they're really looking for a red card. And it is a scissor action. They're trying to clamp down on it.
As Seymour took a couple of hard shoves.
The boy from Dublin shows every bit of his Irishness. Comes steaming into Seymour. But in all fairness, if he doesn't get issued a card here, minimum of a yellow would be a blessing for the Caps. It's that follow through on his back leg on the scissor that they're really trying to clamp down on here.
As Seymour is shown the yellow card.
He's a bit lucky there.
First caution of the match either side.
Well, he doesn't go studs up with 2 feet on a straight leg, but there's definitely a follow through on his back leg. And I know, having had chats with the MLS front office over the last couple of weeks on what a foul actually looks like these days, because I'm often very unsure, is they're trying to clamp down on the follow through with that back foot. And as you saw in the replay, Seymour does follow through with his right leg.
Motalgovan back to his feet now.
And Caps can feel a little bit lucky. There are many refs in North America that would have given a red for that.
As we'll take a look at it again here.
As you see Seymour go into the tackle. You see him release. And the minute he follows through with that right foot, he's asking for trouble. He goes in nice and hard with his left foot, but he follows through with that right foot and draws a lot of contact. Bit lucky that he only got away with just a yellow card on that.
Motalgovan appears like he is going to be able to continue. Standing on the touch line now. And he'll be allowed back into play momentarily.
Hopefully that'll add a little bit of pepper to this game. At times, there's been good passages of play, lots of energy. And at times it's kind of settled into a bit of a rhythm where neither team is creating tons of chances. Hopefully that just lifts the speed and urgency of the play. Bad blood isn't always a bad thing in sport.
As Christian will get play back underway. The youngster Davies back to see that ball out of play.
You know, it's funny watching Tommy Stewart. He must be very frustrated at this stage of the game. The Caps have done an especially good job on him over the first 2 games, having watched them. Really was an influential figure in their attack in both 1-0 victories. He's been really struggled to get on the ball and affect the Caps back four today.
Stewart with 1 goal on the season through 2 matches. The Craigtown, Northern Ireland native. Sees his team in a scoreless draw with Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2, now in the 60th minute. Challenge for the ball near side, Davies. Up against Barrera, and that will go the way of Sacramento.
Well, you can see that Sacramento are trying to isolate Clemente against Levi's. But if they're going to get any success with that, they're going to have to move the ball more quickly and get him in a one-on-one position. Hitting diagonal balls for Levi's to go and win the aerially isn't going to do that. Clemente will need to get ball to feet, face Levi's in a one-on-one situation, which he hasn't managed to do very often yet today.
Gregg surging forward after a bit of a softly played ball backwards by Christian, but Jakovic there to deal with it. Chung on the near flank. We'll play that into the middle of the park. No one there to get on the end of it. Barrera. Out wide. And good work by Clemente to keep that one in play. Now Koval to Barrera. Barrera rolls it to Koval, to Clemente again. Davies pressuring up the park.
Again, you see Barrera come narrow, and all he's doing is congesting the space for the Sacramento Republic to attack. Caps have dealt very well with that situation today. They managed to congest all that space, made it extremely difficult for Barrera to get on the ball in space and get facing forward. But also it's congesting the space for players like Tommy Stewart.
Ball sent forward into the box, cleared ahead nicely by the head of Caden Chung. As Davies will collect at halfway for Flores. Maybe Flores trying to cut in, lost a battle with Barrera, who gets on his bike back the other way.
Davey is a young player, but he has to learn to move the ball more quickly. Dwelling on it, does a nice little bit of possession from the Caps, all starting from Daniel Haber's composure.
Flores again has to deal with Barrera, able to see that off.
Does a good job there of being strong.
Barrera once again picks it off middle of the park. Ahead for Koval. He's taken down by Davies, and that will draw the foul.
Yep, Davies gets back, and he's doing his best to get his shoulder across the defender, but when he doesn't, he lunges in, he wins the ball. The question mark for the referee then is, does he go through the player to get to the ball? And that's what the referee deems happened. You see what Davies thought of it.
And it will be a free kick for Sacramento Republic FC. Follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all of the live action during the 2016 USL season, and Sacramento to make a substitution here as well.
Well, Sherrod's still sitting down. I wonder if he's taking a knock here. Let's have a look at see what the physio communicates to the sideline, but they are definitely making a change.
And it is going to be Cameron Iwasa coming into the match. And could this be the end of Sherrod's afternoon as he's slow to get up? But it does indeed seem like that will be the decision made here from Paul Buckle.
Certainly does. Caps can be very happy with how they dealt with Sherrod outside of couple early game chances where they're coming to grips with what the Republic were doing in attack. He's been largely ineffective.
Iwasa, a Sacramento native, will come into the match. 1 goal on the season in USL play.
See Paul Buckle having a chat with his midfield. It'll be interesting to see if they make any tactical changes here.
As the free kick is sent in, rising to meet it. Christian trying to get underneath, couldn't do so. Caps clear momentarily. Now another ball crossed in, punched out by Melvin, and cleared nicely by Flores.
Good goalkeeping from the boy from Victoria. Makes up his mind to come, makes up his mind to punch, does very well.
Has looked quite confident in just his second professional start. As that time Clemente unable to send it in. And the Caps clear it out wide. Talgavan. Advance that forward. Melvin there to collect. Wide for DeVitt.
Really is impressive to watch Clemente get up and down that line. Amazing that in the end Barrera ends up doing all the forward distribution from the right side of the field for them. And Clemente is usually the one on the end of the distribution, which is very strange for a fullback. You know, the modern day fullbacks certainly play very, very more advanced up the pitch. But this is exceptional even by those circumstances.
And now the Caps will make a substitution of their own. It will be Puro coming into the match.
Yeah, Mitch Pro coming in. You wonder if it's just a case of being worried that Will Seymour might draw a second yellow.
As Seymour gives way for Perreault.
But some very good moments for Will Seymour today. Some good distribution going forward. Offers a ton defensively in that holding midfield role.
Created one opportunity with a great bit of skill just outside of the box. As it's sent wide. And Stewart getting on the end of that. Looking for options, forced back towards his own half.
Caps did a great job of recovering back towards goal. Levi's went and took Seiler's position.
Now Clemento with some room to work with. Nicely cut out by Levi's, and the Caps can get back on the counterattack if they hurry.
More good defending by Levi's.
Davies ahead. Christian had a little bit of trouble with that one with a couple of Caps in the vicinity. Was able to deal with it though.
And you see again here, Levi's gets caught up field and Davies is straight back in to fill that gap.
Takes a foul there on Barrera.
A couple 15-year-old moments over the last 5 to 10 minutes from Davies. Just both lunging in, and that often is the first sign of tired mind.
As shouts, albeit muted ones, for a penalty after a collision off the ball.
Got tangled up a little bit. I think they would have felt their first half shout for a penalty was far more blatant.
Both sides have had things to shout about, whether it be the penalty or the Haber disallowed goal on the offside.
Certainly have. But the game sort of gone into a bit of a lull in the last 10 minutes. Not many chances either way.
Davies ahead, looking for Levi's, who had made a nice run, but just couldn't connect.
Be interesting to see now if Alan Koch decides to sub the young man. He's starting to make some mental errors, and it's the first sign of tiredness. And he's played a lot of minutes for a 15-year-old to start this season. Still has some subs to burn.
Couple of Caps pressuring upfield. Republic dealing with that pressure though is Koval. He'll look for Clementa wide and plays a ball through, but Seiler's back to deal with that. He'll leave it for the keeper Melvin, who boots it out of play.
Trying to get in behind and try and get at Levi's. He stood up to the test so far.
DeVitt for Chung. Right-footed clearance. Haber once again with an aggressive run. Didn't connect yet again though. Chung out wide. Dealt with that nicely. And gets it ahead for the captain, Greg.
Greg does ever so well to get across the midfielder there. Very good target play.
Levi's looking for Alfonso, and it tipped off the 15-year-old before going out of play, says the assistant referee.
Bit of sloppiness from both sides in possession at the minute. And it's these type of lulls in a game where one mental mistake can prove to be the difference. You'd think that when you talk about mental mistakes, that would favor the more experienced side, but the Caps will want to make sure they continue to move the ball once they get it back. It's all a little bit too slow in possession right now for them.
And the veteran Republic side controlling quite a bit of the possession as there's a little bit of a miscommunication at the back end. Seiler able to deal with the danger, though.
In the end, Seiler deals with it, but you got to wonder if there was a shout from the goalkeeper to come and claim that. If not, he has to deal with it, and that's one of the more awkward situations the center back has to deal with, facing his own goal. In the end, he does okay with it. Looked very composed. Not nice when you're heading it back on an empty goal. Not a nice feeling at all. So in the end, he actually mopped it up okay.
Now another run forward from Iwasa into the penalty area. Tried to strike that one. DeVitt got in front of it, and the Republic draw a corner. As another substitution for Vancouver Whitecaps, FC2 will bring in Fatah Safu.
Yeah, and as expected, it's the young man. Davies, who I thought put another good shift in. Amazing what he's doing as a 15-year-old. I just started to notice that he was a bit leggy in what was going on. He's starting to make a few mental mistakes. And now it'll be interesting to see in his home debut. Fatah is coming up from last season at Portland. He scored an absolute cracker here for Portland last year, a 35-yard thunderbolt.
The 21-year-old Ghanaian, experience at the U20 and U23 levels for his native Ghana. And now the Whitecaps with the break on. Safu ahead, Haber with it. Gives it to him wide. They'll play it back into the middle. Cleared high in the air and then collected by Jakovic.
Well, that's exactly the situation they would have wanted from Fatah coming on off the bench, is the counterattack. He's a lightning bug. He offers a ton going forward in his pace. Now both teams getting a little tired as we go in past the 70th minute. It's the last thing you want to see, especially Clemente, who's put in so much work getting up and down the line. Last thing you want to have to deal with now is pace. It'll be interesting to see how Clemente deals with that, if he becomes a little bit more cautious in his approach and sits deeper, but he's certainly not again. He's getting nice and high, forcing Fatah to come back and defend. Be interesting to see if Fatah passes him on to Levi's and takes up a more advanced position himself. Won't want to have to do all that defending. Want to rely on Levi's to do some of that himself from the fullback position.
As the Republic surging forward again, top of the penalty area. Whitecaps able to deal with that pressure, though.
Whew. It's a close call again. The minute you go to ground at the edge of your box, you need to win the ball cleanly these days. Otherwise, the ref is going to be tempted into giving a foul. And that would have been in a very dangerous position for Sacramento.
Fatah Safu onto the ball again.
Movement off the ball just has to be a lot more urgent from the Caps. It's a little bit ponderous. You're looking at a lot of white shirts standing off the ball.
Safu in a bit of traffic, wide to Levi's. He's dispossessed by Clemente. And the break is on here for Sacramento. Surging forward is Iwasa. Long curling ball sent back just out of play by the right foot of Clemente. Follow at USL on Twitter to keep up with all the live action during the 2016 USL season. You can also check out at USL Soccer on Instagram to see match highlights and action shots from games around the USL. Safu ahead for Levi, surging forward, middle of the park for Greg, back to Levi's, chance to hit it with his left foot. Skies that over the target.
Well, I've seen him occupy those type of positions frequently over the last couple games. Very similar situation against Portland, where he found himself there and drew a foul, drew a penalty. But in this game, he's managed to get the ball out of his feet and get a couple shots on target. He'll be disappointed that he hasn't got it on target and challenged the goalkeeper. Both have skied over.
As the physio will come out to.
And when they grab their toes like that, the first thought is, do they have cramp? And it's that kind of, it's getting to that time of the game. Home opener too, bit of jitters. Always creates a little bit of cramp later in the game. You see Alan Koch here having a chat with Davy Flores. I think the three midfielders in there managed to stymie a lot of the Sacramento Republic possession. Made it very difficult to play through the middle of the park. Likely just giving some reminders from Alan Koch to Davy Flores, making sure they don't go to sleep now so late in the game after doing such a good job defensively. That's a tendency with young players. You forget that these guys, Davy Flores, a 19-year-old.
Whitecaps FC2 are back here at Thunderbird Stadium next Sunday, April 17th against Oklahoma City Energy FC. Stay for a post-match fire juggling show from Acro Fire Entertainment. Go to whitecapsfc2.com to purchase or redeem your tickets.
Are you doing that show?
Not me personally, no.
No?
I might stay around. Should be a lot of fun.
Fire throwing's entertainment at its highest.
Safu had a bit of trouble with that one on the near side. Was in some space, but he'll be displeased with himself for that.
Yeah, a little bit of sloppiness. Likely, he's just come into the game. It's always hard to get up to the speed of the game.
Now a long ball up the park. Offside called against Stewart, who was just in behind the center back DeWitt.
Communication between Seiler and DeWitt was absolutely perfect there. You could hear the shout from up here on hold their line. Stewart goes a little bit too early and gets caught in an obvious offside position. Well defended by the two center backs for the Caps.
Seiler. Long ball forward. Cleared away by the head of Clemente. For Barrera, he lost it to Puro. Now Gregg drops off for Flores. Wide to Chung. He'll try to drive down the sideline, sends it in with his right foot and looking for the connection with the overhead bicycle kick was Kyle Gregg. Sent that over the target, but draws a round of applause from the fans for the attempt.
Wow. Big man up front with nice bit of skill. A little bit unlucky. If he would have scored that, it would have been in many highlight packages around North America.
As another substitution for Whitecaps FC 2 will bring on Chris Serban, the Romanian, in place of Brett Levi's.
Yeah, Chris Serban playing his out his university days at the University of British Columbia here. Likely just a straight swap, noticing that Levi's starting to cramp up. And as it's not just a couple minutes left, still quite a bit left, time left to play, wants to make sure that he doesn't get exposed because of it.
Now in the 79th minute.
Levi's will be happy with the body of work he did today. He's playing a very good player in Clemente. Managed to negate him very well for a guy that's played very, very few minutes at the left back position.
Starting to look more comfortable in that role already.
Certainly is. Compared to the last game, big improvement. Again, he always looks good when he gets forward. He's very natural at that. But he's also a really good athlete. And he showed nice improvement from just one game to this game. I know they'll be pleased with that.
As once again the Republic trying to surge forward. Iwasa could penetrate. And it'll be Haber back the other way. Loses possession. And we will have another substitution this time for Sacramento Republic. As making his way into the match will be Max Alvarez, the Napa, California native.
You just wonder, as a central midfielder, if they're going to go to more of a 4-5-1 here.
Makes way for Stewart, makes way for Alvarez, rather.
And Tommy Stewart was largely ineffectual today. Didn't really manage to get on the ball at all.
Saw some frustration from him at times.
Yeah, over the first two games for Sacramento, he's a very influential player for them. So the Caps will be happy that managed to take that space away.
As Sifu looking to cut in from the wide area. Ball falls back to Serbin. Sifu again.
You see how many bodies behind the ball now for Sacramento.
Perreault with a long ball into the box. Settled down by Jacobin.
Yeah, you wonder if the Sacramento Republic will be happy with a point on the road here. Be interesting to see how they play out the last 10 minutes and change. But it sort of shows Paul Buckle's hand a little bit by that last substitution.
Although with Levi's leaving the match, it'll be interesting to see if they try to get Clemente forward again like they have.
I don't think Paul Buckle has enough in his armory to try and hold him back. Every time they got the ball, he gets forward. It's really impressive. And, you know, they can still do that. They put on another more midfield type player in Alvarez.
Serbin for Sifu. Serbin forced back. Will play it to the keeper, Melvin. Rising to try and meet that was Frano. Couldn't get on the end of it, and now here's some space back the other way. Cazares sends that on, and Melvin deals with that.
Caps will have to especially be careful that when they do get possession away, that they're not committed too many bodies forward, especially in their own half. Republic have easily enough quality, and you saw it there from Cazares, to punish them for that.
Ball sent into the wide area. Looking to get on the end of that is Alvarez. And he does just that. Will cross it in with his left foot. And what a save by Melvin. Iwasa all alone in front. Caught that one on the volley. Melvin dives to his left to keep this a scoreless draw.
Very well read by Melvin. At the end, it's a comfortable height for him to take it. Nice hand height. But he does ever so well. Nice and assured hands from him. But you're seeing a couple chances now being created by Sacramento.
Although the Caps looking to counter here. Sifu. Wide left. Back to the middle of the park for Flores, looking for Perreault. That's broken up and quickly advanced. Iwasa with some space down the left side. Looking to get around DeVitt. Unable to get all of that one, and Melvin, very little to do there.
Well, it's starting to open up. I may have been wrong on my prediction that they were going to go to try and see out the game and get a point on the road. Opportunity is starting to open up for both teams a little bit more from the Sacramento Republic standpoint. You see Flores giving up possession there and having a bit of a pop at Perreault. You know, instead of having a pop at your teammate in that situation, just get back into a better defensive position in an effort to win the ball back for the Caps.
And Sifu trying to take that down, unsuccessful in the attempt. And once again, the Republic bringing men forward, and Flores with the foul on Cazares.
Well, sometimes fouls are not a bad thing. That in this situation although it gives Sacramento a chance to get some bodies forward. See, they're not releasing either center back at this latest stage. Can disrupt their attack from Flores. He thought he won the ball fairly, but he certainly didn't. It was an obvious foul.
Clemente's attempt to play the ball ahead, knocked down by Sifu. Now Alvarez trying to cut in. Managed there by Frano. Republic hesitantly working their way forward here. And Clemente with a foul there. Good play by Frano.
Good strength by Frano. In the end, draws an obvious foul again. But again, you see Clemente taking up a good position. Pings in a wonderful cross. Dealt well by DeWitt.
As Melvin clears it ahead.
Caps will want to be a little bit more cautious and careful with the amount of space they're starting to give in the midfield after more or less clogging that area up the whole game. They're starting to commit some bodies forward themselves, resulting in a more stretched game.
More potential opportunities for either side as possession is conceded there. And a crashing challenge by Flores. Immediately shown the yellow card by referee Alain Rouche.
Well, that's 3 moments now in the last 5 minutes. I'm looking at Alan Kosh, and he's thinking he'll be thinking strongly about whether to remove Flores at this stage. 2 fouls in quick succession. That's an obvious booking. He's followed right through the Sacramento player and a loss of possession. The young man has to keep his head in this moment. It's 0-0. Last thing you want to do is give away a silly free kick in a silly area, which this is not.
Clemente trying to get forward. Dealing with that was Serbin.
Well dealt with by Serbin. Excellent defending. Not easy to come into a defensive role this late in the game and get up to the speed of the game.
Now Safu settles it down, switches the field nicely. Can Haber get there to keep it alive? He can indeed. Now Haber lays off for Frano. Ball out wide to Safu. They'll curl that one into the box, but it falls right to Jakovic with Greg watching closely.
Well, you see what he's trying to do, and he's just trying to whip it in behind of Foreign. Greg, if he set off just a little bit earlier, may have gotten across the goalkeeper there. You see him giving the thumbs up over to Fatau.
Fatau Safu again with the ball. Back for Serbin. Cleared ahead by Melvin. Flores on the ball again. Trying to get away and draws a bit of a foul there. Well, Alvarez with a bit of a tug.
You know, we've just had a little bit of criticism for some of the things we've seen from Flores, but that's excellent play. It's nice and composed. He's nice and strong on the ball. Solves the problem, finds his way out of it, and draws a foul. We'll be happy with that.
As we look at that tackle by Flores again there. Clattering in there, to say the least. A yellow card.
Not a difficult decision for the referee there. An obvious yellow card.
Now into the 89th minute. Scoreless. Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2. Sacramento Republic FC. At Thunderbird Stadium, David Sidhu Field. Here at the University of British Columbia. Brendan Batchelor and Mark Rogers with you. As again, Safu trying to play it back for Frano. Lost possession. Republic still think they can get a goal here as Clemente surges up the right side, but forced to play it through for a goal kick.
More good defending by Chris Serbin. He's come into a difficult situation against a good player. And again, shows nice composure. Done a good job filling in from Levi.
Now a long ball from Flores. Greg looking again on the end of that one. Heads it forward, but once again, Jakovic, who really has been unflappable throughout the entirety of the afternoon, grabs that again.
He has been. But also want to highlight the work by Greg. It just doesn't stop. He's been isolated for much of the game up there. Had to feed on scraps often. He just keeps working. It's a great example for such a young team.
Seiler took down Iwasa on the near side, and a set piece here for Alvarez as we reach the end of normal time in the second half. There will be 3 minutes of added time in the match. Alvarez will swing it in with his left foot, and rising to collect is Melvin.
Another good take, another good moment for Melvin. Comes and catches it cleanly, relieves all the pressure on the Caps back four. But there's another learning experience for a young center back in Cole Seiler. At this stage of the game, stay on your feet, don't foul.
Serban back to pressure Alvarez. Ball goes out of play. Whitecaps will have the throw. But really not much opportunity for them to get forward and create a whole lot in the closing stages of this second half to this point anyway.
No, opportunities for the Whitecaps have been few and far between. It's been very comfortable for the two center backs, Foreign and Christian, this second half. So from that standpoint, I'm sure they'll be a little bit disappointed, but from a defensive standpoint, they've done a very good job. Managed to negate some key players for Sacramento. And we spoke about them seeing off Stewart. Also spoke about Clementa frequently throughout this game. They've had limited impact thus far. There's still a couple more minutes, but see, the Caps will be looking even here on a long throw-in situation, try and take advantage of it.
Frano hurls it forward, but dealt with by the Republic. Seiler clears it ahead and out of play.
Yeah, no nonsense from Seiler late in the game. Just wants to make sure he doesn't do anything silly in that situation.
And prior to the match, we talked about the experience of Sacramento as opposed to a young Whitecaps side, average age of 21 years old in the starting 11. And I think you have to say they've acquitted themselves well here in their home opener.
They certainly have. It's not always been a great spectacle in the eye. Hasn't been a wide open game like some of the games we saw last year, but from a defensive standpoint, they've been very responsible, and that will please Alan Koch. There's still a little bit of time to see out here, but if the Caps do manage to keep a clean sheet, that'll be 2 in their first 3. And for a young team,
and a young keeper in Sean Melvin.
Absolutely. So it's from that standpoint, he'll be pleased. As far as creating opportunities in the attacking half, quickness of their possession will probably disappoint Allen a little bit. And frankly, will disappoint Paul Buckle a little bit as well. Some of the possession has been very ponderous today.
As Melvin dealt with that long free kick in from Clementa. And Serban trying to get up the near side, taken down by Alvarez. And as the Whitecaps send men forward, and do we have a last-minute twist in the narrative here for Vancouver? Flores will boot it ahead.
Poor service from Flores there.
And that will do it. The final whistle sounds. Whitecaps FC2 in their home opener play to a scoreless draw against Sacramento Republic FC.
Well, that was one of the more entertaining moments, was Jakubek pulling out a Rene Higuita little scorpion kick there to end the game. But no, as mentioned, the Caps will look at this from a defensive standpoint and be very pleased. They managed to limit the amount of opportunities Sacramento Republic had, managed to really make it difficult for them to keep possession through their midfield. And from that standpoint, they'll be pleased. From an attacking standpoint, they did have opportunities throughout the game. I mean, we think back to Daniel Haber's disallowed goal from an offside, which looked debatable. But from a Sacramento standpoint, they'll probably be disappointed from their possession. It was all very slow. Still managed to carve out a couple chances. A blatant penalty, that a non-call, looked really dodgy from up here. And it looked like the Caps probably dodged a bullet on that occasion, but I think both teams will be pleased. They get a point on the road from Sacramento, and the Caps keep another clean sheet against one of the favorites from the USL standpoint to win the championship this year.
Both sides remain undefeated. 2 wins and a draw, 7 points for both Whitecaps FC2 and Sacramento Republic. And a good performance in front of the home fans here in their home opener. Whitecaps FC2 are back here at Thunderbird Stadium next Sunday, April 17th against Oklahoma City Energy FC. Stay for a post-match fire juggling show from Acro Fire Entertainment. Go to whitecapsfc2.com to purchase or redeem your tickets. As we'll take a look back at some of the key moments in the match here momentarily. You talked about the fact there were opportunities at both ends of the park. The penalty kick not given against Sacramento. The disallowed goal from Haber on the offside for Vancouver.
Yeah, and really half chances after that. And in the second half, you think back to a couple moments where Sacramento found themselves in space at the edge of the 18-yard box for the Whitecaps. And didn't manage to really test Melvin, really both right at the goalkeeper. And a little moment there in the second half where a nice cross and finish was put at a nice height for Melvin to make a clean save on. But outside of that, the opportunities as the second half drew on were few and far between.
As that will do it for our broadcast here this afternoon from Thunderbird Stadium. Thanks for joining us yet again. For Mark Rogers, I'm Brendan Batchelor. The full-time score, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2-0, Sacramento Republic FC 0. Have a lovely evening.